This is the GIS Evening Report for Monday, May 27th, 2024. I am Chrisanne Mitchell. In the headlines, small island developing states calls on oil-producing companies to be held accountable for their role in exacerbating the global climate crisis. This story and more when we return.
The Royal Grenada Police Force and the National Disaster Management Agency remind all citizens that the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands, Forestry and Marine Resources has issued a no burning notice, which means that no one is allowed to light fires at any location throughout the state of Grenada. Engaging in setting of fires on any land under this act shall be liable to a fine of $500 or 3 months imprisonment. Please be vigilant and report any occurrences of fires as we aim to keep the nation safe during this severe dry season. Fires can cause millions of dollars in property damage and loss of lives. Let us all be responsible and play our part in minimizing wildfires as best as possible. Remember, it only takes one spark to ignite.
Welcome back. President of the 4th International Conference on Small Island Developing States and Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Honorable Gaston Brown, is demanding that oil-producing companies be held accountable for their role in exacerbating the global climate crisis. Prime Minister Brown was addressing the opening ceremony of the SIDS 4 conference, to which his country is playing host from May 27th to 30th. Prime Minister Brown emphasized that these oil-producing companies bear significant responsibility for the environmental challenges threatening communities worldwide.
Isn't it high time to end fossil fuel subsidies and for these companies to be held accountable to reduce emissions and to accelerate the transition to renewable energy resources to protect lives and livelihoods? Shouldn't a global carbon tax be levied on these oil companies that are consistently enjoying supernormal profits to provide much-needed climate financing? Distinguished delegates, we stand at a juncture where our actions or failure to act will dictate the fate of SIDS, as well as the legacy we leave for future generations.
President Brown underscored the unprecedented challenges confronting the region, where small island developing states find themselves on the front line against multiple crises they neither caused nor created. Factors such as small size, limited financial resources, and constrained human capital place SIDS at a distinct disadvantage on the global stage.
This year has been the hottest in history in practically every corner of the globe, foretelling severe impacts in our ecosystems and starkly underscoring the urgency of our predicament. To ignore this is to gamble with our collective future. Continuing with business as usual is not just negligence, it is an active choice that invites disaster. Such indifference will reverberate disastrously, affecting every nation, every community, and every individual across the planet.
The Grenada delegation, headed by Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell, was engaged in a bilateral meeting with the President and Foreign Minister of the Marshall Islands on Sunday, where fostering closer relationships with the islands was discussed. Prime Minister Mitchell says given that the islands, which are located in the Western Pacific Ocean, face similar challenges to Grenada, like climate change, further discussions will be held.
We agreed to continue further dialogue and discussions using our prominent representatives at the United Nations. They were interested in us supporting their candidate for one of the positions that the UN which we pledged to do. They were also very much interested in our Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation and the reasons for the ministry and how it has worked thus far. We promised to share with them some of those ideas because many of our small developing states like the Marshall Islands and Grenada have challenges with implementation, and so they were quite keen to find out how we are addressing the implementation deficit in Grenada. they undertook to send some of their delegates to meet with our Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation in Grenada in the coming weeks ahead.
Minister for Climate Resilience, the Environment and Renewable Energy, Honorable Karine James, participated in the bilateral involving representatives from the International Organization on Migration. One of the subjects of discussion was the effects of human mobility.
I think it sets a framework and a foundation for us to build upon. Of course, some of the challenges that we've had as small islanders is to create the enabling environment in terms of the policy, the regulations, and so to carry forth some of the projects that we want to implement. So this is just a conversation to have that exposed, to have that exposure and to be able to document what the challenges are firsthand and to see how best we can combat it. So we've made a pact that we're going to work more closely together to see how best we can create not only an approach that works for Grenada, but one that works for the region as well.
Detective Corporal Kimber Coutain, attached to the Serious Crimes Investigations of the Criminal Investigations Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force, says the RGPF is leaving no stones unturned as they ramp up resources to curb various types of crimes committed on the island. During a press conference on Monday, Detective Corporal Coutain says despite the arrests made in the recent homicides due to gun-related acts of violence, the investigations are still ongoing. He says while the news of an arrest may bring comfort to many, addressing issues of crime must be thorough.
We like to, at this point in time, inform the public that any affiliation, any assistance given to criminal element will be addressed by law enforcement. Hence the reason that our investigation doesn't stop there. Anyone who would have aided, abetted, conspired, participated in any way in these offenses, they will be addressed, and our lawmen are working towards that.
The many theories that are now in the public domain as it relates to the recent incidents of gun-related crimes, while some of it may seem to sway from the realities of what has transpired, Coutain says it is still investigated, some of which has aided in the success that the RGPF is reporting to date.
The RGPF welcomes any information. Yes, it might be some things out there that we hear that would spike some fear in people, but we want to let them know, rest assured in your police, the RGPF, that every aspect that comes to our ear, come to our offices, we are going to check it out and see how best, and we have seen even in recent times, those information that is circulating, it has resulted in success, right? So rest assured that your police is going to continue working towards every aspect in keeping our country safe going forward.
Detective Corporal Coutain says recent deaths due to gun crimes is a clear indication that communities need to bond closer together in steering our youth in the right direction.
We need to understand that when a life is lost, lives are affected from both sides, the lost person's family and even the perpetrator's family. And we are in a small island and everyone knows each other. And with that, it leaves an effect on everyone's life. With that, it's important to state that we need to come together, continue working together against the crimes that we have seen in recent times, and in so doing, helping others to change a course of action, to be a little more tolerant in respect to the aggression and the use of illegal firearms or violence on a whole. We have a responsibility, every one of us, even those who feel that their lives are not affected, but it can be affected. So let's be cognizant of that and let us try together to reduce any crimes, or any violent crime involving firearms, ammunition, and so forth.
The RGPF is currently engaged in ongoing assessment of its policing strategies to ensure its adequacy and effectiveness in responding to the current realities. We take a break, and when we return, we will hear more on the work currently underway on the land slippage in St. Patrick. The forecast for the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season points to above normal activity, with between 17 to 25 named storms. To mark the start of the season, the National Disaster Management Agency and the Government Information Service will host a live program from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. on Wednesday, May 29, 2024. Panelists will include representatives from the Met Office, Royal Grenada Police Force, Shelter Management, and NADMA. The live program will be broadcast on GIS Channel 22 and its social media pages. Welcome back. A section of the road in Samaritan, which collapsed due to heavy rains in December 2023, is currently under repair. A contract worth $200,000 has been awarded to contractor David Nicholas to construct a 63-foot solid reinforced concrete retaining wall. On Monday, GIS visited the project site and interviewed the contractor. He indicated that the project, expected to take approximately 3 weeks, commenced on Tuesday, May 21st, 2024.
We started last week, Monday to be exact, and we constructed 63 feet by 11 feet retaining wall, 14-inch thick, and the purpose of the wall is to protect the road because December last we had that rain that slide out part of the road, underneath the road and undermine the road, so we had to excavate and break the road slightly so we could get a proper area to walk to construct the wall. We're going to be casting the foundation Wednesday morning, and we're looking to finish the wall itself in approximately 2 to 3 weeks to finish casting all of the concrete. And then after that we have to backfill, so we're going to wait for about approximately 14 days before we could actually backfill the retaining wall.
Nicholas says so far he has not experienced much challenges in getting the job done, which he says is a plus as they are trying to make use of the present weather conditions.
The only challenge we had really was whilst we was excavating, just after excavation actually, part of the road collapsed. That is when we was doing the blinding. Part of the road collapsed and cover up where we previously blind, so that the next day we had to get another excavator to come and clear out this site, and we break out the rest of the area that wasn't looking proper or strong enough to hold up itself. We break it out to make sure everybody protected.
He made a call for the motorists to drive with more care while traversing the area, taking into consideration the fact that there are men on the site working.
Since the road, before the road break, collapse, the heavy vehicles when they were passing with a lot of speed. That is why we had to put the temporary so that they could kind of slow down. Those heavy vehicles, when we below in the trench, we feeling the vibration. So after the road break, we wanted them to divert the traffic. But right now I don't think it's much of a problem because since that time up to now they're still passing, but the vibration is not as much. So I guess maybe the part of the road that was canting over, yeah, and as it come out now the vibration is not as much, so maybe it's much safer now.
Currently, there are 6 people employed on the project. They include 1 steel bender, 3 tradesmen, and 2 traffic wardens. And finally, during a recent media engagement, Superintendent Issa Pear, officer in charge of operations and crimes, reaffirmed the Royal Grenada Police Force dedication and commitment to combating crime on the island. Amid growing concerns about public safety, the RGPF emphasized its ongoing efforts to apprehend those responsible for criminal activities. In recent weeks, several arrests have been made in connection with gun-related incidents. Superintendent Pear reiterated that the RGPF will persist in utilizing its resources and strategies to conduct thorough investigations into crimes.
The undertaking was given that the Royal Grenada Police Force is fully committed to utilizing all its available resources to thoroughly investigate these matters and bringing those responsible for committing these senseless acts to justice. We identified with the public's concern regarding their safety and the potential negative impact these incidents can have on our peace and tranquility, and alluded to the fact that the RGPF takes this extremely seriously.
Superintendent Pierre urges the public to trust the expertise of the RGPF and assist wherever they can, as it takes the entire community to fight crime. The men and women of the RGPF cannot do it alone.
The Royal Grenada Police Force believes that the recent arrest, posture, and action executed should contribute to allaying the fear and concerns regarding the recent surge in gun-related violence, and assures you that we are continually engaging in crime prevention and investigation strategies as we remain committed to ensuring the safety and security of the community.
In the coming weeks, the general public will witness the various strategies unfold, as the plan is to ensure that citizens feel safe within their respective communities. This brings us to the end of the GIS Evening Report for Monday, May 27, 2024. I am Chris Ann Mitchell saying thank you for joining us.